Did you know that Australia is the largest exporter of merino wool in the world? In today's episode of Knitting Around the World, we're heading down under to discover 11 inspiring knitting patterns and talented designers that you're going to fall in love with. Plus, there is also going to be not one, but 2 giveaways this time, which I'm going to talk more about later on in the video. Hello and welcome back to my channel. I am so excited to take you on this fiber-filled journey across Australia today, from beautiful lace socks to Bridgerton-inspired tops and even some Parisian blanket blocks. Let's get started. When you think of Australia, you might picture sun-soaked beaches, kangaroos, and maybe the Sydney Opera House. But what many people don't realize is that Australia is also one of the fiber powerhouses of the world, especially when it comes to wool. Merino wool is probably the most famous, and for good reason. Australia produces 80% of the global fine merino wool, which is considered one of the softest and most luxurious wool. These sheep thrive in the dry climates of states like New South Wales and Victoria, and the country has spent over a century developing ultrafine merino breeds that are now used in both commercial and indie yarn production. But Australia's knitting culture isn't just about raw fiber. It's also deeply tied to community, storytelling, and sustainability. In recent years, there has been a shift towards small batch and ethical wool production, and some farmers even offer fully traceable yarns, meaning that you can literally follow the yarn from the sheep all the way up to the finished product. This initiative is called the Australian Wool Traceability Hub, or AWTH. Australia also has a thriving indie dye scene, especially in places like Melbourne, Sydney, or Tasmania. These indie dyers often draw inspiration from nature, from eucalyptus leaves and red desert sand to the deep blues of the ocean. When it comes to knitting styles, Australians tend to adapt to their own unique climate. Most parts of Australia are warm most of the year, so that's why you will find a lot of airy constructions, lighter weight garments, and cotton blends. But in the southern states like Tasmania and Victoria, where the winters can get chilly, you will also find layering pieces and wool garments. Knitting is also gaining momentum as part of the broader slow fashion movement. Knitters tend to focus more on timeless pieces that can be worn year-round, and a lot of them prefer to knit fewer but better garments that can be used over and over again. And of course, knitting is also deeply social. There are knitting festivals, knit nights, and online communities where Australian makers can connect and support each other. What makes Australian knitting so special is the mix of global excellence, like their world-famous merino production, with down-to-earth creativity and warmth. It's practical but beautiful. It's rooted in tradition, but at the same time totally open to modern experimental design. And that's what it makes it such a rich source of inspiration. Now let's have a look at the 11 knitting patterns that I have selected to show you and the talented designers behind them. And since I can only show a very small selection here, I have created a bundle on Ravelry with more than 110 different knitting patterns from Australian designers. I am going to link that one in the description box below for you, along with everything else that I am going to talk about in this video. The first designer that I would like to talk about is Helen Stewart, also known as Curious Handmade. Helen has created more than 200 knitting patterns to date, and she has a beautiful portfolio to choose from. She also created the Handmade Sock Society, which is a 6-month mystery sock knit-along where she releases one pattern every month, and knitters can participate in the knit-alongs for each of the patterns. And of course, since it is a mystery knit-along, you do not know upfront how the sock knitting patterns are going to look like. The pattern that I would like to show you is called the Flourish Socks, and it has been released in April of 2025. It was the first pattern of the Handmade Sock Society number 6, and there is another pattern available in this mystery knit along called the Letterpress Socks, which is also a very beautiful design. I am actually thinking about joining the Handmade Sock Society for this mystery knit along because I think the Flourish socks are such a beautiful pattern, and I imagine it is so much fun to be part of this amazing mystery knit along. In case this is something that also interests you, I wanted to read the inspiration of the Handmade Sock Society number 6 for you. It says, "The season of the Handmade Sock Society is inspired by the dreamy aesthetics of light academia, a cozy atmosphere of sunlit libraries, antique writing desks, and snug reading nooks. It's dedicated to the secret worlds inside our journals, our favorite stories, our sketchbooks, and our daydreams." Back to the Flourish socks. They are knitted with a fingering weight sock yarn, and that comes out to a gauge of 32 stitches and 46 rows over 10 centimeters or 4 inches. The needle size used is a US 1, which corresponds to a 2.25 millimeter needle. It comes in 3 different sizes and is knitted cuff down with this beautiful lace motif that's running down the front. And I also wanted to read the designer's inspiration to you that she put on the Ravelry project page because I think it sounds just so lovely. She says, "The Flourish socks are inspired by the swoops and scrolls of handwritten copperplate script. These socks are knit from the top down, beginning with a ribbed cuff. A scrolling lace panel flows down the front of each sock, framed delicately by twisted stitch columns. The ornate effect seems complex, but the repeats have a pleasant rhythm, like meditative sessions of calligraphy practice. The traditional heel flap and gusset construction ensures a comfortable fit, while the round toe creates a neat finish, and it's easy to swap in your own favorite heels or toes if you prefer." Let's move on to the next designer now, and I would like to talk about Marzena Kolaczek. She has a beautiful design aesthetic in my opinion, and the first pattern that I have picked out to show you is called Mélanie, and this is actually available for free, and it was released in November of 2016. It is knitted with a fingering weight yarn with a gauge of 19 stitches and 27 rows over 10 centimeters or 4 inches. The needle sizes used are US 4 and a US 6, and that corresponds to 3.5 and 4 millimeters. It comes in 5 different sizes with finished bust measurements ranging from 35.8 up to 56 inches or 91 up to 142 centimeters. The recommended ease is 4.75 inches or 12 centimeters of positive ease. The designer states that this is a great pattern for beginners. It is worked in one piece from the top down. The front stitches are cast on using the provisional cast on, and shoulders are shaped using short rows. You also have this beautiful folded hem detail where the bottom edge is folded and live stitches are attached to the wrong side to create a double layered finish, and you'd also do the same for the collar. If you have seen some of my previous videos, you might know that I am on the lookout for a simple drop shoulder sweater for my very first hand spun sweater project. So I have spun up a sweater's quantity of yarn that I'm going to put a picture on the screen so that you can see. And I think I have finally found the perfect pattern for it. I am quite certain that I'm going to cast on the Mélanie sweater very soon because I think this is just a perfect pattern. It is simple yet elegant and somehow looks sophisticated and understated at the same time, and I really like this design. Now, like I already mentioned, Marzena has a beautiful selection of patterns in her portfolio, and that's why I decided to show you another one of her designs, and this one is called Priscilla and was released in December of 2020, and this just looks like a work of art to me. I think it is simply stunning. It is so intricate and feminine and romantic, and I'm absolutely in love with this design. It is knitted with a fingering and a lace weight yarn held together to create a DK weight gauge of 11 stitches and 24 rows over 10 centimeters or 4 inches. The needle sizes used are US 6 and a US 7, which corresponds to 4 and 4.5 millimeters. This design comes in 7 different sizes with finished bust measurements ranging from 35 up to 58.5 inches or 89 up to 148.5 centimeters. It is recommended to be worn with 3.5 up to 7 inches or 9 to 18 centimeters of positive ease. Now this is a slightly cropped cardigan that is very richly decorated with this fine lace stitch pattern. It also contains cables and bobbles and is finished with this charming wavy placket. The design is worked from the top down and in one piece. It starts with 2 front pieces which after the neckline shaping are worked straight down to the underarm. Stitches for the back are then picked up and worked straight down to the underarm. The back and front pieces are then joined together and you continue knitting straight down in one piece to the hem. Afterwards, the placket stitches are picked up along the front and the back neck and you work some 1x1 rib and shape this wavy structure using German short rows. And I also wanted to read the designer's inspiration to you. She says, "This charming cardigan was designed to satisfy the deepest desire for beauty and sophistication of every romantic and sensitive soul. Priscilla is a truly adorable design, filled to the brim with carefully selected, intricate patterns and thoughtful details. The final effect is highly influenced by its complexity and well thought out form. It is one of those projects that made me soar to new heights of creativity." And this also brings us to the first giveaway of this episode. Marzena has very kindly agreed to gift one of her stunning knitting patterns to one of you. So if you would like to win one of her amazing patterns, all you have to do is leave a comment down below, letting me know which of Marzena Kolaczek's patterns you would like to win. I am going to draw the winner exactly 1 week from now and then announce it here on YouTube. Please also add your Ravelry username so that Marzena can gift you the pattern. Let's move on to the next designer and I would like to introduce you to Phoebe, also known as Friday Knits. And the first design that I would like to show you is called the Eloise top. This is knitted with a merino yarn held together with a silk mohair. So a fingering weight yarn plus a lace weight yarn to create a sport weight gauge of 22 stitches and 32 rows over 10 centimeters or 4 inches. The needle sizes used are a US 2.5, 4 and 5 and that corresponds to 3, 3.5 and 3.75 millimeters. This design comes in 8 different sizes with finished bust measurements ranging from 35 up to 58.5 inches or 89 up to 148.5 centimeters. The recommended ease is 0 to 2 inches or 0 to 5 centimeters of negative ease. The top is knitted flat, beginning from the mid-back and up to the shoulders. Stitches are bound off for the neckline and the shoulders continue down the front to above the bust. Stitches are then cast on for the rest of the body, which is then worked in the round. Sleeves are picked up and worked in the round with short rows and finished with an I-cord, and the neckline is finished with an applied I-cord. This design is one of her Bridgerton-inspired designs, and in case you don't know, Bridgerton is a show on Netflix that takes place in the early 19th century and is set in a fictional London Regency era and centered around the noble Bridgerton family. And Eloise is one of the sisters of this family. I also selected another pattern from Friday Knits to show you because I think it's just so beautiful and perfect for summer. This one is called the Boxy V-Neck and it came out in April of 2023. It is knitted with a fingering weight yarn with a gauge of 24 stitches and 34 rows over 10 centimeters or 4 inches. The needle sizes used are US 2.5 and a US 4, which corresponds to 3 and 3.5 millimeters. It comes in 8 different sizes. The finished bust measurements range from 34 up to 62 inches or 85 up to 155 centimeters. It is recommended to be worn with 4 to 6 inches or 10 to 15 centimeters of positive ease. The top is worked from the top down. You begin with the back neck and then work down to the armholes. Stitches are then picked up for the front and joined at the neck and worked down to the armholes before joining in the round. The piece has customizable elements for both the neckline and the armholes, and there are also video tutorials throughout the pattern to assist you with the various techniques. What I really like about this design is that it looks so flowy and comfortable. And you can also wear the side with the buttons either on the front or on the back, which I also quite like. And that brings us to the second giveaway of this video. Friday Knits also very kindly agreed to gift one of her beautiful patterns to one of you. So if you would like to win one of Phoebe's patterns, again, all you have to do is leave a comment down below, letting me know which of her wonderful patterns you would like to win. And I'm going to draw the winner 1 week from now and announce it here on my YouTube channel, I think probably in the form of a community post. Let's move on to the next design that I have picked out to show you, and it is called La Mascarada by Catherine Rain. And Catherine is part of the company The Cable and Lace Co. that she runs together with her sister Christina. And the pattern that I have picked out to show you, so the La Mascarada, came out in August of 2020 and is knitted with a sport weight yarn with a gauge of 25 stitches and 35 rows over 10 centimeters or 4 inches. The needle sizes used are US 2 and a US 4, which corresponds to 2.75 and 3.5 millimeters. It comes in 12 different sizes, so it is extremely size inclusive, with finished bust measurements ranging from 31 up to 66 inches or 79 up to 166 centimeters. The recommended ease is 1/3 of an inch or 1 centimeters of positive ease. This design is inspired by the mystery drama of a 16th century masquerade ball, La Mascarada. It combines mosaic and lace techniques to create a beautiful and elegant yoke panel. The sweater is worked seamlessly in the round from the top down. You add short rows for the shaping of the neckline, and from then the mosaic pattern is introduced, followed by the lace design. The sleeves and body are then separated and worked from the top to the bottom, and the cuff is worked in the same mosaic pattern as the yoke. It comes with both written and charted instructions for the lace portion. And it also comes with links to YouTube video tutorials. And since this is a pattern that's done with mosaic knitting, you only knit with one color at a time. So there are no 2 strands of yarn involved at a time, although it looks quite intricate. I think this is a stunning design, and Catherine Rain has a number of very beautiful patterns in her portfolio, so if you do not know her yet, you should definitely check her out. The next design that I would like to show you is called the Saji Sweater by Yoko Johnston. Yoko is a Japanese that is living in Australia, and she published this sweater pattern in December of 2023. It is knitted with a worsted weight yarn with a gauge of 17 stitches and 24 rows over 10 centimeters or 4 inches. The needle sizes used are a US 7 and a US 8, which corresponds to 4.5 and 5 millimeters. The sweater comes in 5 different sizes with finished bust measurements ranging from 39.5 up to 53.5 inches or 100 up to 136 centimeters. There is no information about the recommended ease, but it is stated in the pattern description that the model is wearing the sweater with 8 inches or 20 centimeters of positive ease. The design is knitted from the top down and features saddle shoulders. Saji means spoon in Japanese. On the sweater, it is characterized by a diamond shape. A series of bold diamond patterns are featured on the front body, and smaller diamond patterns are placed on the sleeves. And the back body is knitted completely in stockinette stitch. Next, I would like to show you a design by Ambah O'Brien. Ambah O'Brien is one of the best known names in the Australian knitting scene, and she is very well known for her color work and also her shawl designs. But the design that I have picked out to show you is a hat called the Azurine Hat, and it came out in January of 2018. It is knitted with a fingering weight yarn with a gauge of 28 stitches and 35 rows over 10 centimeters or 4 inches. The needle size used is a US 2, and that corresponds to a 2.75 millimeter. It comes in 2 different sizes with finished measurements of 19 to 24 inches or 48.5 up to 61 centimeters for the head circumference, and a height of 7.5 up to 8.5 inches or 19 up to 21.5 centimeters. Now the hat is knitted from the brim up and features this beautiful all over lace design, and it also comes with a matching cowl if you would like to create a little set for yourself. Next up is a design called the Wild Iris Sweater by OGE, who is also known as Red JK Design. This pattern came out in September of 2024 and is knitted with a fingering weight yarn held together with a lace weight yarn to create a DK weight gauge of 20 stitches and 33 rows over 10 centimeters or 4 inches. The needle sizes used are a US 3 and a US 4, which corresponds to 3.5 and 4 millimeter needles. It comes in 9 different sizes with finished bust measurements ranging from 34 up to 65.25 inches or 85 up to 163 centimeters. It is recommended to be worn with 4 to 6 inches or 10 to 15 centimeters of positive ease. Wild Iris is a top-down sweater with fitted saddle shoulders and reversed satin sleeves that are knit seamlessly in one piece. Next up, I would like to introduce you to OGE Knitwear Designs, who is Vera. She has a huge pattern portfolio. I think she has more than 280 designs, and she designs mainly for babies and children. But since I know that a lot of you like to knit for your own children or grandchildren just as much as I do, I wanted to introduce you to her beautiful patterns, and the one that I have picked out to show you is called the Lantana Sweater P284. This one came out in June of 2025 and is knitted with a sport weight yarn with a gauge of 24 stitches and 30 rows over 10 centimeters or 4 inches. The needle size used is a US 4, which corresponds to 3.5 millimeters. It comes in 8 different sizes, all the way from newborn up to 12 years old. The sweater is worked from the bottom up in one piece until the underarms. You will then split for the back and front and knit them straight, so back and forth. There is an option for the sleeve stitches to pick up around the sleeve opening and knit in the round, or alternatively you could knit the sleeves flat and then sew them into position. The pattern has drop shoulders and has been designed to be a relaxed fit. Now I think this is a absolutely beautiful design, and I love her overall design aesthetic, and like I said, please check her out if you also like to knit for babies and children. And let's move on to a completely different design now, and I would like to introduce you to Jake Henzler and his stunning and unique blanket patterns. The pattern that I have picked out to show you is called the Paris Building Blocks, but you should definitely have a look at his complete portfolio because he designs very interesting patterns. This pattern was released in October of 2024 and is knitted with a fingering weight yarn with a gauge of 30 stitches and 32 rows over 10 centimeters or 4 inches. The needle size used is a US 2.5, which corresponds to 3 millimeters. It comes in one size, and the finished measurements are around 25.25 per 37 inches or 64 per 94 centimeters. The pattern consists of a series of 8 chart patterns for knitted blocks, which can be sewn together into larger panels, such as a blanket. And the blocks of this pattern have been designed on buildings of Paris. Now he used a 100% cotton yarn to create his sample, and he states that you will need between 35 and 40 grams of yarn for each of the 8 panels. Now I hope this video inspired you to explore the beauty of Australian knitting. Whether you are drawn to elegant lace socks, beginner-friendly sweater patterns, or bold, colorful yokes, I hope there was some inspiration in this video for you. Let me know in the comments which of the patterns resonated with you the most. And if you have not seen the other videos in my Knitting Around the World series yet, I'm going to put up the playlist for you on the screen. And if you would like to win one of the beautiful patterns of Marzena Kolaczek or Friday Knits, don't forget to leave a comment down below. I will draw the winner of the giveaway 1 week from now. See you next time. Happy making. Bye guys.